Good morning. My second speech this morning, meditating with the question, for what do you pray? And this question came to us from Gigi Coyle, who is doing the Ring of Power this morning also in the United States. I think she is now still sleeping. And I want to introduce Gigi Coyle to you. She is a peace worker. I would dare to say I feel her like a kind of soul sister for myself. I know her since 1993, something like this. We did deep research with the dolphins together, praying with the dolphins, communicating with the dolphins. And Gigi Coyle was also co-leading together with Kate Benny the Walking Water pilgrimages. And this is a very deep and typical example how she connects with the earth and with all beings, and how she dedicates her life to listen to the voice of the earth, to the voice of all the ones who can't speak. And she is deeply looking for a new way how we as society can live together with all beings on this planet. And I wish that she will introduce herself. She is also someone who does a deep work as counsel to bring people together, to learn to deeply listen, not only to nature, not only to the earth, also to us as human beings. What does it mean to raise our voice in truth and trust? Yes, and having introduced her, I will now speak myself to this question, for what do you pray? And in my life, the deepest sentence is, my life may be my prayer. And of course, I have special times where I dedicate moments of silence to connect with prayer. And prayer for me means to open to the divine nature of life. So for me it's like connecting with the universal love. I feel that in the center of the universe there is a certain logic of universal love and unity, and praying means for me to connect with this power. Praying is for me the communication with the invisible part of life and with the visible part, the metaphysical part of life and the physical part of life. How are they deeply connected? And my deepest prayer is that we as humanity will find like a next step in evolution where we learn to reconnect our lives, our forms of being in community with the universal divine power, that we discover our divine nature again, that we discover this power of unity from where all diversity is coming, and that we learn to raise our voice for all beings and to feel and to rediscover that our life is conducted or guided by this divine power. And I use the word power, and I feel my prayer is that we learn to do this shift of power, that we don't want to dominate others anymore, but that we learn to cooperate. And especially we as peace workers, I pray that we rediscover this divine power which is connected with all life. I pray that we discover this power which does not know violence. And this is a high power, this is a strong power, because life is powerful. And I feel that my deepest prayer is also to connect with this power which is beyond trauma, which is beyond the structure of perpetrator and victim, and of reacting to each other, because we are deeply embedded again in unity of life. And I pray that I will still, as a person, bear witness that we find new forms where this kind of war, where we all are living in as societies, can and will be ended. I pray that we listen to the voice of the earth. I pray that we learn to listen for all the ones who cannot raise their voice, and that we learn to raise our voice in the name of the whole. I pray that we learn not to fight systems anymore, but that we find a higher order which will help us to develop systems of life which are in resonance with the earth and with all the beings. I pray for all my brothers and sisters that we step out of this system of perpetrator and victim, and that we will deeply discover that life is always ready to forgive, but first we have to discover where we did hurt others and where we learn to raise our voice in the name of a new kind of justice. I pray with the water, I pray with the fire, I pray with all beings that we will rediscover the joy of life here on this planet Earth. Of course, we invite the metaphysical powers, we invite the light, the universal light, which is beyond all